Robin and Batman, issue 3. Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wynn on the art.
Yep.
Final issue.
Yeah.
And it is Croc making his move, because we've been wondering what he's doing. We ended the last issue with him looking at the school, so clearly he's going to do something there. Dick's getting a little bit more violent. He's getting, he's sort of, the darkness is taking a hold of him, and he's kind of becoming, I guess, what he thinks Batman wants him to be.
He's becoming more Batman.
Yeah,
right.
In many ways. So he's beating up a thug in the sewers. They're looking for Croc. Batman has to sort of like pull him back when he's going a little too far, which leads to the next day where Alfred's like washing the blood off of his clothes. And this is actually one of my favorite scenes in the whole issue, because Alfred's like basically, so Dick says, "Oh, I'm going to skip school today because we've got important detective work to do, blah blah blah," with Croc. And Alfred says, "No, I think you should definitely go to school. Isn't that right, Master Bruce?" And Bruce does not give him the answer that Alfred was looking for. He says, "Nah, the school's not important. Yeah, you should stay home and do Robin work."
More important than anything they're teaching him at that stupid school.
Yeah.
And Bruce does fight with them for a couple of like lines. He says, "No, he's not normal, Alfred. He's special." And then Alfred throws the shirt in his face and says he can be special after school, and sort of like puts him in his place. And then I love that Bruce just turns to Dick and goes, "Get ready for school." Like he's like, "Nope, Alfred won that fight."
Alfred essentially pulled rank.
Yeah. Alfred turned into the father figure, like Bruce's father figure specifically, in this moment. So it was just a really sweet scene. It kind of gets them in a way that,
Alfred has been fantastic in this book.
Yes, it was really, really good. Dick tells some kid to piss off when he tries to ask him to play D&D.
That's such a heartbreaking scene, because they are reaching out to him and they want to be his friend, but he is so shut in, right, to this mindset that he turns them down. I was like, oh man, just go play D&D.
The kid is a bit pushy.
No,
Dick's like, nah. He goes, "Nah, thanks, but I can't." So by the time Dick's going no at the end, like really stern and like firm and like, "No, I'm not interested," and you're meant to feel bad for this other kid. Like, you did keep pushing him. He said no.
No, but I get it.
They keep pushing.
They could feel.
All he did was offer, "Oh well, if today's the problem," because he says we play on Wednesdays. Right. I mean, if today's the problem, we could move. Like that's literally all he says. That's not being pushy.
Yeah, no. They're trying to accommodate him because they could tell that he needs friends, and they're trying to invite him into the friend group.
I don't know. I've felt this with I say, you say no, you polite, you make it, no, I'm good. Oh well, it's like no, just I said no. God damn it.
But I could also read it as that Dick, as he's so emo right now, right? He's so wrapped up in his own. That's not how he answered. Yeah. It was just, the no thanks, and then he just got irritated because he knows what they're trying to do.
The phrasing though is important here, because he didn't say no. He said I can't. So the response, well, if it's the day that's the problem, like that's a perfectly valid response to I can't, because that makes it sound like there's a reason why he just can't do it.
Right.
Well, he didn't say I can't on Wednesdays. He just said no, I can't.
Right. So the kid's trying.
He doesn't have to. He's just said it's on Wednesdays, and then he responds with I can.
And it's not from out of anywhere. He noticed to the drawing of Killer Croc that he thought was a dragon for D&D. So he's thinking this is a kid that's also into the same stuff, and but I just thought this scene was heartbreaking in the best way. Like, this is where Lemire knows how to play me like a fiddle.
Oh yeah.
So
Croc comes over the school intercom. He's got the principal by the throat. It says, "Little Robin, show yourself, or I'm going to start breaking people, starting with this guy."
I've had school principals when I was in school that if this had happened, Robin definitely would have waited a little.
I think the real threat is Croc goes, "Well, I'll tell everyone what your real name is."
Yeah. I just thought that was funny. Like the principal that, pop culture is like, oh, no one likes the principal, right? So just the idea of the kids like waiting to see if Robin's going to show up and seeing how far it's going to take, I just thought was funny.
Yeah, so he makes everyone get out by basically pretending there's a bomb somewhere, so they all flee. And he puts like a scarf over his face to hide his identity when he goes to see Croc. and tries to fight him. Batman comes in. Clearly Batman's heard what's going on quick enough. He comes smashing in the window, but Croc gets the better of him and leaves with him. So he's kidnapped Batman, and Dick goes home. Alfred's not prepared for all this, and Dick's like, no, I need to go and save him. I need to be his partner. I can't fail him. I can't lose him too, not like them, talking about his parents. So there's this, and to be fair, it's not even just like he's making that connection. Croc is, especially in the following scenes, is directly saying, I'm going to make you lose him just like you lost your parents. He's all out for the poetic repetition, if you will. So Alfred says, you have to do this alone, and Dick's like, he works alone, so can I. He's like, well, no, he doesn't work alone, he found you. Like, right. And kind of, makes this point clear. So yeah, we have the big showdown at Haley's Circus. What's left of it. With Dick out in caution.
I'm not sure how much I love, the backstory in this book with Croc being so tied to Haley's Circus in this way.
I don't mind that. I don't like his motivation that, that Dick got to be happy there and he was miserable. And I really thought this was going to be like an outcast reaching out until he started cracking the principal. Like, so, Lemire swerved me there. However, I do like how Robin comes across here, and finds who he really is through this. But yeah, this was like a hard left turn with what I was expecting Croc to do, just because it was so like up through the first two issues, we didn't know how Croc was going to respond to seeing Robin, because he was almost a sympathetic figure, like him in that tank, So, but yeah.
Yeah, obviously it's not in continuity, it's its own thing, so I don't necessarily mind it being tied to Haley's Circus. I would say that his motivation that he just wants to kill Robin and like make him suffer is a bit simpler than maybe I was expecting, based on the build-up.
It just feels a little bit, I didn't like your parents because they were the star attraction and you were part of this happy family, and even though you suffered and you were clearly in pain when they died, I want you to suffer more because I was treated like shit, even though it doesn't seem like Dick ever treated him particularly well. It didn't treat him particularly well, I don't think.
It's almost Snape syndrome from Potter, that I hated your father so much, I'm going to take everything out on you.
It kind of is. And
right?
Yeah. I don't love it. Like I say, I would hate this more if this was in continuity. As it is, I'm just like, okay.
Right. Again, it feels like a hard left turn. If we had gotten a little bit more of this backstory with everybody ignoring Croc and only caring about the Flying Graysons, and him having that sense of jealousy, like festering as he, as everybody walked past the fish boy, I could get it, but this again just seemed like Croc's got to be a villain now, and we took it, and again that's fine because what Dick learns about himself in saving Bruce, I really do like. Again, also it's another Potter thing where he goes and sees, it's very, very Potter.
Where he sees what?
Where he goes under the water and he's about to give up, and then he sees the people in the void, right?
I can see that. Yeah.
Yes. Batman says some really nice words as he's hanging upside down. He's been dangled above a tank that's been filled with water. That will drown him if Dick can't get him out of the chains and that stuff quick enough. But he has to fight Croc. Croc shows up and we get some fighting, and sure enough, Dick is able to, after his moment, of course, where he almost dies and kind of catches a glimpse of his parents in the water, and they say, open your eyes, Robin, and
loves to play to his strengths and go in the air.
Yeah. I mean, because obviously this, he talks a lot about darkness in this issue in his narration, and the idea of being, he doesn't have to be the darkness, he can be the light, and kind of be something else. And there's some really nice sequences here as he's like jumping and flying and kicking him in the face and all that stuff. And sure enough, he knocks him out, and he's able to cut Batman down. And there's a really nice couple of panels here, the full page spread of Batman hugging Dick and saying he's a good boy. The idea that I know I've been a dick, because that was like one of the things he said before the fight is like no matter what I've said, no matter what I've done, you're good. He kind of really emphasizes that point. And this encourages Dick to invite the boys over for some Dungeons and Dragons, which Alfred facilitates with some refreshments. And it sets up that he's now going to be his own hero. He's going to be the light. He can be with Batman, but of course the last couple of pages also set up that he can have other things. And we set up last issue, of course, that he's met the other Teen Titans, and sure enough, this is them farming effectively.
Yeah, you see, even before you get to the group of them, in the side of his notebook, he's got Teen Titan logos figured out. He's got he's
The Nightwing.
Yeah, planning his Nightwing logo. He has, of course,
there's a
the
part,
Super S, because what child doesn't?
Right. But I also like that earlier that when he's deciding he needs to be more like Batman, he's like, Robin's dumb, Robin's too bright. I need, like Nightwing, that's a better name. And he talks about how he'll have to use that later. So I also like that. Like, that's just a part of him,
Yeah. I mean, this story has been a really nice story about like early days Robin, and like him. I mean, it's kind of an origin story. It kind of obviously skips the origin part, but it's mostly an origin story in that it's like him really kind of discovering who he is as Robin.
Yeah,
and I think everything with Alfred and the sort of the clashing of parenting styles and ways that there is like a nice bit of story here for Bruce as well, where he kind of has a bit of an arc as well between the issues, and ultimately accepting that he needs to encourage Dick in a way that's different. And it's almost like, Batman defaulted to this really sort of tough love, like harsh, I'm training you as a Batman style attitude, but learned along the way that that's not going to work, because that's not how Alfred treated him. He had
that compassion, and Bruce had to realize you can't make another you.
Yeah.
You're the only Bruce Wayne, and you got to let Dick Grayson be himself.
And because Bruce isn't the way Bruce is because someone else like pummeled it into him.
Right.
He's who he is because it's him. So it's the accepting that he has to encourage Dick in a different way.
And and you can see those lessons through the Batman mythos when Dick teams up with Damian as Batman and Robin. And that he's letting Damian be who Damian needs to be. And he's the more forceful of the characters.
A sniveling little shit, I think you might say.
Yeah, but but Dick lets him do that. It's just you can't kill people, So, and he calls him Grayson constantly, and he just lets him be. And it feels like here that started when Bruce finally let him be Robin. But it was very good. I mean, sometimes I felt like Batman came off as as the GD Batman. Like he's very stern.
A little bit.
And, but I do like that it breaks at the end, and he learns a lesson as well.
I like the idea that that's how Dick sees him.
That's what I was going to say.
It's more just that he's this intimidating figure. He doesn't know him yet.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I was going to say, is I think this is just how Dick sees him, because he is this imposing figure. Not so much that if we were looking at, if we told this story from Bruce's perspective, he wouldn't probably feel that way.
Yeah.
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 I think this is probably the weakest issue of the three for me. But it sticks the landing in making its point. I just think, it's the least exciting of the three issues. I wasn't super keen on some of the Croc stuff, but I do think it nails the ending of the thematic point of what the story is, and that's kind of the most important thing.
Right.
Yeah. I think Croc's like ultimate goal is the only thing that feels a little off to me, just because it feels a bit simpler, and I think that's just for the sake of time, because you only have this issue to do it in, really, because it was so just we're teasing that he's recognized him, and then we're teasing that he's found where Robin is, but that we're not really getting into the nitty gritty of why Croc's looking for him or what his intentions are until this issue. But that atmosphere is still there. The almost childlike, dreamlike quality that Dustin Wynn kind of brings to the table, and why he's good for a story that focuses on a Robin and not necessarily a Batman story in and of itself. Not that he's not done it in the past, because he has, but
just that watercolor really lends itself to Robin.
Yeah, it does.
So It's good stuff. All right, Matt, what are you giving Robin and Batman issue 3?
I'm giving it an 8.
Connor?
Yeah, I think I'll just about give it the 8. I think Wins Art pulls it up to the 8 as opposed to just being the 7.5.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to give it the 8 as well. So there you go.